And now, it's time for another Dice Tower review with Tom Vasel.
Hey folks, today we're going to be taking a look at Pictomania. This is a new party game from Stronghold Games, but what's going to attract a lot of people to this is it's designed by Vlaada. Yes, the guy who designed Through the Ages and Galaxy Trucker, a very well-known designer, has a lot of fans, Dungeon Lords, etc. But this is a party game. Now, he's designed one other party game, Bunny Bunny Moose Moose, which is a really silly game. Watch my review of that one. It's just kind of crazy. This is a game based on drawing, which instantly has me wary because I can't draw. Not at all. All right? And Pictionary is one of my least favorite games because of that. But I was interested to see how this one might work. It sounds more like a gamer's party game. Let me show you. At the beginning of the game, each player gets a drawing board. On the side, you're going to keep score. You're going to play 5 rounds in the game. You get a marker, and you get this eraser. And just briefly, I like all the components in the game, but this little SpongeBob SquarePants is just kind of it's not the best eraser. If anything, I wish it had kind of like a hard edge on it because it just doesn't erase as well as I'd like. But everything else in the game is fine, although I suspect that I'll eventually have to replace these with other ones because these markers do tend to run out quickly. Players are also going to get a bunch of bonus tiles, and this depends how many players are in the game. So we'll pretend we're playing a full 6-player game, so I get 3 2 and 3 1s. We'll also put bonus tiles in the middle of the table, again, determined by the number of players, and then each player gets 7 cards that are numbered 1 through 7. Now, the way each round happens is you're going to put 6 cards on a rack like this. Now, there are actually different colors of cards. There are green cards, which are very easy. Things like here you can see cherry, watermelon, strawberry, blueberry, plum, pear, and apple. The orange cards are a little bit more difficult. Elf, dwarf, fairy, troll, goblin, dryad, giant. Then we have some blue ones, which maybe are more difficult than that. Meadow, wheat field, clearing, cornfield. You know, there's all sorts of different things in the game. And not all of them are just straight up different. You know, like here, for example, we have high jump, long jump, pole vault, hammer throw. And then there are purple ones, which can be very difficult. It, she, I, they, you, he. So there's all sorts of different things. This one I like quite a bit. When, what, how much, who, why. So anyhow, you're going to put these out here, and you can pick whatever color you want. So if you want to play an easy game, you can play with greens all the time. But you're going to put 6 out of the same color. Everyone looks over to make sure everyone knows what they are. By the way, all these things have 2 sides on them, so they can be flipped onto either side. Then you're going to shuffle 2 decks of cards, and each player is going to be given 2 of them secretly. So let's see what my 2 are. I have square and 2. So look here in the square rack, and I have a drug-sniffing dog. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take these cards, and I'm going to place them here in a score pile, and one person says go. At this point, everyone starts drawing what they have. Okay, and again, please don't judge me for my drawing skills. Okay, and so maybe I start drawing, but while everybody is drawing, you're also guessing what other people are. So I look over at Judy's paper, and I see that I think she's drawing a troll. So all I need to worry about is matching the number. So I'm going to take this and put this on top of her pile of 2 cards. Meanwhile, other people are going to be putting numbers on top of mine. You can only put 1 number on top of each person. So as people are playing the different cards, you know, if purple puts a card there, he can't put another card there later on. And you can guess, you can draw, you can do them both simultaneously, whatever. So maybe I'm drawing more on this, and I don't know, I put a star on him. I don't know what, I'm not very good at drawing a drug-sniffing dog. And so maybe I'll put like a little bottle of aspirin here. Okay, maybe that's a terrible bottle of aspirin, but whatever. So eventually, though, I'm going to decide I'm done, both with guessing end with drawing. So then I take the biggest bonus tile that's still left in the middle of the table. As players take these, they're finished, and when the 5th player takes one, and this is a 6-player game, so when the second last player takes one, the game ends. At that point, each player will take their pile, and one person at a time, I'll reveal, hey, it was a drug-sniffing dog. Everyone will yell at me about my lack of drawing skills. I then show that yellow guessed 6. No, that was the guard dog. Green guessed drug-sniffing dog. Purple did, and so did blue. So to each of those people, I give one of these tiles. My highest tile goes to the first correct guess. The second highest goes to the second correct guess. The third to the third correct guess, and etc. So we go around the table and everyone does that. You also get your cards back, but if you guessed wrong, like for example here, yellow guessed wrong, his card's placed in the middle of the table. After everyone has done that, all the tiles that you've gotten are going to be points for you, minus any tiles that you did not give out. So if you draw poorly and don't give out any of your tiles, you won't get very many points. You also will get points for your bonus tile unless you have the most cards that were incorrect guesses. At that point, instead of getting points for your bonus tile, you will lose points for it instead, which makes you very sad. And everyone laughs. We put out 6 new cards. Everyone writes their scores here. So in this case, let's pretend I got 5, and we go on to the next round. We continue doing this. After 5 rounds, whoever has the most points is the winner of the game. So there you have it. It is a gamer's party game. Now what's really interesting about this is the dynamics of how the game goes. People draw their clues, stop drawing their clues, start looking at other people. Then you're like, what if I draw just part of my clue? And then guess other people's first. But if you do that, maybe no one will guess yours, and then you'll be out of a lot of points. And so you have to be very careful. The rules have some pretty strong penalties if you deliberately draw a wrong clue. But that doesn't usually happen because you don't want to draw a bad clue. You want to draw good clues. And there's some rules, like you can't draw letters and numbers. You know, your typical rules for drawing games. But for the most part, this game is extremely entertaining because you can use logic. You can say, for example, as I take my cards here, I'll say, well, I'm drawing number 3, so no one else is drawing a 3 on all the cards. So when I look at Bob's and I'm saying, is he drawing the gardener or the postal worker? Wait a minute, the gardener's number 3 and I'm drawing number 3, so he can't be doing that one. It must be the other one. Or sometimes you'll put a card that guess someone else's and you'll be like, oh, that's what you are. Oh, I already handed out the number 5. Well, too late for that. And so there's some really interesting things in that regard. You could even possibly guess the wrong thing, but if it's the right number, it matches. Now, I haven't seen that happen, but it is possible. And there's just some really entertaining, and because each card has clues that are very similar, let's see, for example, here. On this card here, we have brick, nylon, wool, leather, cement, cotton, and adobe. Here we have one that says historical fiction, sci-fi, fantasy, romance, mystery, horror, and adventure. And because they're very similar, many of them, it's not just so easy to easily say, oh, well, that's on that card, obviously, so they're picking that one. No, and I really like how that works out in that regard. And I like the whole gamerish thing. Now, it's not for casual gamers, I think, because it's going to be a little frustrating as you try to figure out, okay, you do this, you put this down, you get these bonus point tiles, and you have to hand out tiles. There may be one too many scoring rules for a very simple gamer, but for people who are heavier gamers and are looking for a party game that adds something different to the table, I think this is a good one. Like I said, I can't draw, and I've just proven that to you all. Okay, there are people who are mocking me right now about my lack of skill, but I've won this game. Even with my poor drawing, because the drawing, you only need to draw enough to get people to make a good, educated guess at it, but also guess other people's as fast as you can. And that is the key to the game, to balance the two of those. And I think that's a cool thing, it's an interesting idea, and that is Pictomania. Dice Tower Judgment, approved.
Thanks so much for watching the Dice Tower videos. Find more great videos and reviews, as well as our top-rated audio podcast at Dicetower.com. You can also find other great shows at Dicetowernetwork.com. I'm Eric Summerer, and you've been watching The Dice Tower. The Dice Tower is sponsored by Cool Stuff Inc., where you can find great games for great prices. Cool stuff in stock. Check them out at CoolStuffInc.com.
Shut the door.